Welcome to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast, a space where we break free from tradition, creating a wedding day totally authentic to you and your love story. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you plan a wedding day that feels uniquely yours. Join me for planning tips and advice, endless inspiration, and a pocket full of calm within the chaos that is wedding planning. Consider me a trusted friend, here to walk you through it all. From injecting fun splashes of personality into your day, to reinventing tradition completely, all whilst focused on building a day bespoke to your dreams and desires. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I am excited to be here as always. I've sat down, I'm ready to go. This is always my favorite time of the week to just sit down and give you some wedding tips, some wedding advice. So thank you so much for joining. If you are new and this is your first time visiting this side of the podcast space, then my name is Abby. I'm a wedding planner here to share all of the wedding tips, all of the wedding advice with you. And yeah, I'm so grateful. This is episode number 48. So there's quite a few to go and listen to. We're gearing up to visiting our first year anniversary episode, which is very exciting. I'm not sure what I'll do for that. I have no idea. Haven't thought that far ahead, but I should probably start thinking about it. Right. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble for too long. You know I like to get straight on into things. So today we are talking about wedding privacy. And this whole concept of what do we share, what do we keep private in this kind of space where social media and sharing everything we do is such a huge thing. How do we find those moments of privacy? How do we keep things intimate where we want to? How do we kind of unplug our wedding day from social media, for use of a better phrase? That's what we're going to be talking about today. A bit of an interesting one. I thought it just might be something to consider whilst you are working through your wedding planning. So without further ado, we are going to get straight on into things. But before we do, if you are not yet subscribed, if you are not yet following, if you've not yet given us a review, it means so much to me if you come back and return and you let your podcast app know that you want to come back and return. It's really good for all of the boring data at the back end. So if you haven't yet done that, please do. I would be so grateful. And now we are going to get straight on into things. Let's go. So, as I mentioned in the little introduction there, we are talking about wedding privacy and how to navigate that process in what I feel like is a world that is completely dominated by the internet and social media and what we see online. It is just the overarching, all-consuming thing of parts of our day. The people that can remove themselves from that and can wake up and not be glued to their phone for the whole day, there aren't many people that aren't spending any time in the day on their phone or on social media, or feeling, even if you don't spend time on it, I feel like there's still this pressure to share and, to be showcasing things or sharing your life and updating people. We can't often feel like we can just keep things to ourselves and keep things private. And I feel like when it comes to weddings and having this really big special day and moving into this next chapter of our life, there is this huge pressure of when are you going to post it on social media? This whole kind of thing, or it didn't happen if you didn't post it on social media type thing, it's a big thing. And I wanted to talk about that a bit because firstly, although that is very much not true and your wedding is very much still valid if you choose to keep that private and not share it on social media, there are different levels of things, right? Some people want to share everything and that's great. Some people want to share a little amount and that's also great. And some people are like, not for me. We don't want to share it at all. We just want to keep it completely private. Also fine. But what we're going to talk about today is maybe how to work through this process, how to decide what you're comfortable sharing, how to put boundaries in place with other people sharing, because it's not just to do with us as a couple, is it? You've got friends and family that are also wanting to share things. And if you're wanting to keep things really, really private and they're wanting to shout it from the rooftops, you might have this kind of conflict there and need a little bit of a resolution, a little bit of a conversation. So we're going to talk about the boundaries in place there. We are also going to talk about how to just navigate the process, how to decide what you're comfortable with and how to navigate that on your wedding day and in the before and after process as well. So Hope you're excited about this one. It's a bit different for me, I think. We don't normally dive into a topic quite like this, but I'm excited about it. So I will give you my best shot at giving you my advice from a planner's perspective and help you through this process. And as always, if you've got more questions at the end, if there's anything you want to talk about or you think we should dive into a little bit more, then send me a DM or send me an email. All of that info is in the show notes. But for now, let's get chatting about wedding privacy. So I feel like there's a few ways we can define privacy as well and what wedding privacy actually means. I think there's a few different layers to this. So you've got this like physical element of being private, right? There's the physical, who's going to be in this space on our wedding day. And this is like your guest list, okay? Whether you're choosing to have a really big wedding and have 100, 200 plus people, or you're choosing to have 30, 40 people and keep it kind of small and intimate, that's kind of your first layer of choosing what is private and what's not on your wedding day, because you're like, who's going to be in our space? Who's allowed in our bubble on this day? And who gets to be a part of these special moments? And who are we just like, actually, we don't want you a part of this? And that's not always necessarily a negative thing. It's not an unkind thing where we're like, we just don't like you. We don't want you a part of it. Sometimes it's just a case of being like, actually, we don't want 100 people being a part of this moment for us. For us, it would feel much more intimate and much more special to just have a small handful of people sharing this day with us. So starting to have these conversations actually starts right from the very beginning stages, when you are starting to think about your guest list and what size venue you might need and how many people are we going to invite and what's it going to cost for this. You know, it's the privacy isn't the only thing coming into play. You're obviously considering your budget and location and all these other things that are going to come into play, but it is something to kind of start considering. I think you'll get a gut feeling here as well on what kind of size wedding you want. And it might change through life. I feel like for me, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I probably would have said I'd want the biggest wedding ever, huge wedding. I want everyone there because I want to share it and I want everyone to be a part of it because it's so exciting. And I still, elements of that I agree with and I stand by that. I think that's definitely true. But I feel like the version of me now is very much more conscious of who I'm sharing my space with, what means the most to me in moments like that, and who I would actually want there. And I feel like that's now actually a smaller pool of people where I'm like, I could probably do without you there. It actually wouldn't bother me too much if you weren't there. And just wanting those key people to be a part of your day, I think your perspective can change through life, and that's totally normal. But long story short, there is this element of physical privacy on the day of who you want to invite into this space. You've also got the digital privacy, which I think we're going to talk a lot about today in this episode, which is like your social media and your sharing, what gets shared by you, what gets shared by your family, when is it being shared? You know, when are we happy for things to be shared? Do we just want to hold on to this little bubble of private, intimate memories that no one else knows about apart from us and our guests before we start sharing things online? Because once it's out online, it's like a whole other ball game, isn't it? Like that's it. Like they always say, once you put something online, it's there forever. And I think that's a big thing to consider when you're sharing something as special and important to you as getting married. And finally, I think alongside both of these things comes the emotional privacy. So kind of holding close to you these special, intimate moments so that they stay meaningful. I think there is a certain element of when you share something, it changes it a bit. I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but if you've had a really private, intimate moment, when you share that with everyone, whether it's, you know, just with your family and friends or whether it's online or whatever, it changes that. It's not just now a memory that you and your partner hold together. It's something that you're sharing with everyone to experience an element of that with you. So there might be certain things on your wedding day that you're like, we don't even want this documented. I talk about this quite a lot. If you are the kind of people that are really nervous about having a first dance and you don't want to do that in front of your guests and it just doesn't feel right for you, and maybe you're thinking, we're not going to do one at all because it makes us stressed, we don't want to do it. But there is the alternate option of going somewhere at your venue, just you and your partner, and actually doing a first dance there, just the two of you, and maybe your photographer, if you want that documented. And this is what I'm talking about. Do you want it documented at all? Do you just want to go somewhere for 5-10 minutes with your partner, do your dance, look into each other's eyes, have that lovely romantic moment, capture that moment, just the two of you in this space that no one else knows about, no one else is experiencing, and hold on to that? Is that what's going to be most special to you? Or do you want to have that moment, the two of you, and then share it later and say, this is a moment we had. We'd love to share it with you. We got some beautiful pictures from it. We just didn't want to do this in front of everyone. We were nervous. We didn't want to mess up. We just wanted to have a moment where we weren't being watched, except for maybe by your photographer. But again, that's a decision you can make. I think there's parts of the wedding day that, you know, might be nice to just keep to yourselves. The same thing, I think, coming with something like your first look. Maybe you're doing a first look with your dad or your mum or your bridesmaids, and maybe those pictures themselves, you're like, I really want to have them because I want to look back on them and I want my dad to be able to look back on it, but I don't want to share that moment on my social media. I don't want to share that anywhere else. I just want to keep that for us. So it's captured in a way, but we've got this level of privacy where it's like, this is where it ends. It doesn't get shared past this point. We want to hold that quite close. And I think not everyone is going to have these feelings of wanting to keep anything private, but some people will. And I think as you go through the wedding planning process, you might come across things where you think, oh, something about this doesn't feel quite right. What is it? What is it that I'm thinking? I don't like that. And dig into those emotions a little bit. Try to figure out what might be making you feel that way and how you can maybe navigate that process going forward. Just here as well, this isn't about like keeping your wedding day a secret and having to hide things and not share things with people. But I think it's about those boundaries. And I talk about boundaries in wedding planning so much, more than I actually realized I did until I started doing this podcast. And actually every episode I'm like, put your boundaries in place, think about your boundaries, hold your boundaries strong, because I think that this is such a sacred time. This whole process is not just for a show. It's not just for something to be watched and presented and everybody look at us, we're getting married, this is amazing. Actually, it's a really special sacred time that should be cherished and should be, you know, handled with care, because these are your memories and these are the things you're going to look back on and it's going to feel really special to you. There's other things in life that you're going to feel the same way about, whether it's if you have children, when they're born, whether it's when you move into your first home, whether it's, you know, something going on a special holiday with one of your parents or your friends or something. These are memories that you're like, I want to handle this with care. This is a big moment and this means a lot to me. So your wedding day is one of those things, right? I talked a little bit about this pressure as well. There is a huge pressure to share everything online. And some people might be going through this wedding process thinking, oh gosh, like I'm so excited about everything. But there is just this part of me that feels like I'm going to have to share all of that at some point. And gosh, there's this pressure on like, you know, am I doing things just because I feel like I need to perform it, because I need to make this statement on look at my wedding and look how beautiful it was and look how amazing it was, when actually it doesn't need to be that way. I don't need everything to look a certain way. I don't need everything to look perfect and, you know, feel perfect in this way. I just need it to be right for us. And we need to make a decision that feels really good for us on our wedding day, that makes it feel like this is our day and we don't need to perform it for anyone. There's no expectations or pressure on how things should look and how things should be done because we've seen 1,000,001 Pinterest boards that tell us that's how it should go. This is your wedding day and you get to choose how that goes, how that looks, how that feels. And I think coming back to that, holding yourself in that space and being like, what feels right for us right now? Are we just performing it? Are we just doing it because we feel like we have to? Or is this actually a decision that feels right for us? Of course, you want to have a beautiful wedding day. Okay. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying you should, you know, not worry about how your wedding looks at all. But what I am saying is you don't need to make every decision based on what's going to be the most Pinterest and Instagram worthy picture. Okay. It's finding that balance. And I think that's really important. You will get a lot of opinions in the wedding process and a lot of comments from people that are just excited for the most part. And they're like, can we see your ring? You haven't posted your ring yet. You're engaged. I didn't see anything on Instagram. Have you got your wedding dress? Are you going to post a picture? Oh, you got married. You haven't posted any pictures. Can I see a picture? Can I see a picture? And it's exciting. And of course, a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, of course I want to share. But there might be a part of you that's like, oh my gosh, we haven't even had a chance to sit down and look through all the pictures ourselves. We just want to do that. And then we'll share when we're ready. There's this like panic that comes in where you're like, oh my God, like I feel like everyone's just waiting. Everyone's waiting to see the pictures. Everyone's waiting to see the video. Everyone's waiting. It might feel like that. I feel like maybe they're not. And there is just, this pressure that we've put on ourselves and that society puts on us to feel like we have to share everything. We don't have to. And if we want to share everything, we don't have to share it on anyone else's timeline. We could wait a month, 2 months, some people don't post anything at all, and then on their first anniversary they're like, here's a wedding photo. It's what feels right for you, and there's nothing wrong with choosing your own timeline for that either. I think there can be this element of worrying so much about everyone else, worrying so much about what you're supposed to do and when should I post, and have I posted on social media yet? I'm so excited to need to share it with everyone and get all these likes and all these things, when actually that can take you away from just being in the moment and being like, oh my gosh, these are our wedding pictures, how amazing. And now, again, not everyone's going to feel this way. This is not the episode for everyone. There will be some people out there that are like, we just want to share everything. And that's amazing. You do you. As always, I say on this podcast, this is about you. What do you want to do? You don't have to take my advice. I'm just here to give the advice. You don't have to take it. It's not a law. It's not a rule. We are just talking about the possibilities and the options. So you might want to share everything. You might be unsure how you feel yet, and that's okay. Have these conversations as a couple. What do you guys want to share? What do you guys think you're going to want to share? And then talk about it again when you've actually got married. How do we actually feel now? Do we still feel that way about not sharing anything, or not sharing certain moments, and maybe just sharing 1 or 2 pictures and leaving it at that? Your guests posting as well. This is quite a big one, and I think something we will talk about quite a bit today. Are you okay with your guests posting things? Because I feel like, from my perspective, there's a big difference even in like my family or my friends on who posts a lot on social media and who doesn't, and the kind of things they share and what they don't. And this is going to be different for everyone. You might be the person getting married that doesn't share anything, doesn't post anything. Their life's quite private. You don't want things shared. Then you've got friends that share everything on social media. They share everything online. And you're like, oh gosh, are they going to post a picture? Even if it's on their Instagram stories of them as a bridesmaid, but you're in the background and the dress is there. And you're like, I haven't even had a chance to post myself yet. I don't even know if I want that shared. How do you feel about that? And do you want people posting? Is that okay? Are you okay with them doing it later down the line, like just nothing on the day, or give us the week and then you can post? There is like a general rule, I think, that you shouldn't be posting anything about a wedding until the couple themselves have posted. And then it's like, okay, they've posted something. We've got the green light to now share, because you don't want to be that. Please don't be that person that's sharing pictures from a wedding when the couple hasn't even posted themselves yet, because they're busy on their wedding day, but maybe they wanted the dress to be a surprise and how they looked. Like, they've spent a lot of time planning this, and you're just going to chuck a picture up on your stories without even thinking twice about it. Amazing day at so-and-so's wedding. Like, they've barely been married 12 hours. Give them some time to process. Please don't be that person. And if you are going to share anything, I feel like obviously you're keeping the couple out of it. You're keeping all of these big special details out of it. If you want to post a picture and be like, so-and-so's wedding, and you're a bridesmaid or you're a guest, fine. Don't be posting the couple, because you don't know how they feel about wanting to be posted yet, okay? There are certain things you just need to be considerate of. So just have a think about that, okay? These are normal feelings that might come up, but in general, have a think about how you might feel about that. What do you want shared? What do you want other people to share, and what you're comfortable with? And what does that timeline look like? These are your boundaries. These are the things that you're going to hold in place and be telling people and be holding firm on. And there might be certain moments that, yes, you've had photographed because you've got a photographer there, but you don't want that shared in an online space because you want to keep that private. It's something that you just want to keep for yourself, your first look, maybe with your partner, maybe putting on the dress with your mom, maybe your first dance, maybe anything on the day. Maybe you've done something really special, private vow readings, and you've had the pictures taken, and you just want to keep that for you. It's completely fine, but just have those conversations. From this other perspective, which obviously we've just talked a little bit there about the guests posting things and what they think is acceptable and everything like that, I think understanding from the guest perspective is a really important one to have as well, because rarely are your guests doing anything to be malicious and to be unkind. They are usually just excited and thinking that they are doing an amazing thing, celebrating you, sharing pictures online, being like, look at this beautiful couple, how amazing was their wedding day. They might not understand, because they're so wrapped up in their own head, that you didn't want that shared yet or at all. They might not have considered that you wanted to be the first person to share that moment and to share those memories. So this is where we need to start thinking about how we communicate that and how we let our guests know how that happens. And sometimes it's even something like, when you've taken a picture with your friends and one of your friends thinks she looks amazing, so she posts the picture, and the rest of you are like, oh gosh, like that's not the most flattering angle for us. We don't really like that. And, this is where communication just comes into play so clearly, because this is your wedding day. Okay, you can let it pass by a little bit more if you've been on a night out or out to a brunch and someone's posted a picture and you're like, oh, don't really like that, but whatever, no big deal. When it comes to your wedding day, you are allowed to be firm. You are allowed to put more firm boundaries in place and say, no, I'm not okay with that, take it down. Or, this is why clear communication is so, so important. Now, a lot of people in today's wedding space will choose to have an unplugged wedding ceremony. So this is where your cameras, your phones are put away. They are not allowed out. No one's taking pictures during the ceremony. No one is on their phones videoing. It's just the photographer that you've paid a lot of money for, maybe a videographer if you've got one, maybe a content creator if you've got one, but your guests themselves are not allowed to have their phones out. The whole point being that they are to focus on being present and not recording. You don't want any moments ruined. You don't want any phones going off. You don't want someone's hand stuck in the middle of the aisle when you're doing that first kiss and it gets ruined because someone's got their arm in the photo with the phone out and your photographer is just like, oh, it's so, so common. But these unplugged ceremonies are really popular, really, really popular now. I'd say most of the time. A lot of the time it's like obvious, don't get your phone out, but sometimes people just don't get it. And it's always the people that you're like, I've told you, don't get your phone out, and they'll still do it. So what we want to do is communicate that and have someone saying that or have it on, we'll talk about different ways actually that you can communicate this information. Even if you don't want to do a full unplugged ceremony, like you could just say for the vows, no phones out. For the first kiss, no phones out. For the aisle walk down, at the very least, like, let me just walk in without having a phone on me. Like, let me just look at me. Just watch me walking down the aisle. Maybe until you've had your first official photos down, you're saying no phones until then. After that, go for it. I've seen people do before that, like, okay, get it out your system. We're going to have 1 minute. You can take as many pictures as you want. And then after that, phones away. Don't want to see them again. Giving your guests, it sounds ridiculous, and I kind of feel like it's ridiculous, but I also kind of get it, to just be like, listen, treating them like a child, to be like, you can't cope for half an hour without your phone and taking a picture. Get it out your system now, take a photo, and then I do not want to see them again. Put them away so that we can get married and have this lovely, peaceful, quiet ceremony. Sometimes it's a case of doing that. Sometimes you might say you can take photos, but you are not allowed to post them anywhere. Okay, until we are posting things, you are not allowed to post a single thing, not sending it to your friends, not posting it online. Like, that's our rule. If you are going to take photos, sometimes there is that. You might have different levels of what you're okay with. That's fine. Talk about it. But like I said, there are a few ways you can communicate these things to your guests. So you could put it in your invitations, is like an obvious one. Put it in there so that the first kind of communication they are getting, there's something on there that says no phones allowed during the day, no photos to be taken at all. Fine. People are probably going to ignore it. So we'll talk about some other options. Put it on your wedding website as well, somewhere really clear and obvious so that people will see that. My favorite one, and I think one of the best ones that you should include, is for your registrar or your celebrant to be saying this at the beginning of the ceremony. When everyone's sat down, they're here for the day, they're like, right, what's going to happen? You tell us what we're doing for the day. We've got a ceremony, then you're telling us where to go. Then you're telling us, like, the wedding day is basically you just telling your guests where to go for the day, giving them things to keep them busy, feeding them, and then having a party at the end of it, typically, right? So when they are there at the very beginning of the day, waiting to be told what's going to happen next, this is a perfect opportunity for your celebrant or registrar to tell people this is an unplugged ceremony, or the couple would like to request no photos at all today. Please respect their wishes. No social media posting allowed. Please respect their wishes. It's as simple as that. And I think this one is a really good one because you are literally speaking to people face to face. There's no, oh, we're just going to skim over that on a wedding website and ignore it. I'd still put it on there. I would say definitely use more than one method. Don't just be putting it on your invitations and being like, well, I put it on there, so, I don't want to be a nag. I won't say it again. Please say it again. Please be a nag, because this is your wedding day and you will regret it at the end of it if your granddad's gone and posted a picture onto his Facebook and you're like, oh, it's not even a professional photo. We didn't want anything shared yet. We just wanted to keep it to ourselves. And now that kind of has been taken away from us. So definitely use more than one option. So you can put it on your invitations. Like I said, you could put it on your website, get your celebrant or registrar to say something. You could use it in signage on the day. Maybe you've got a sign as they're walking into the space. Welcome to our wedding. Please take a seat. Please do not take any photos. Please do not share on social media. Whatever kind of phrasing you want to say. It doesn't need to be excessive. You don't need a whole rules for the day signage, but something there that just says, please don't take any photos. It doesn't have to overpower. It can just be something subtle. If that's the vibe you want to go for it. maybe you guys are doing a speak to yourselves at the, at the beginning of the ceremony that just says, thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited for today. We just wanted to thank you all for coming, and also request that you please don't take any photos in the ceremony. And if you take any later on in the day, please don't post anything. Maybe it's as simple as that. Thank you so much. And then you get married. What works for you? There's no rules here either. Like, some people are not going to like that. I found this particularly recently as I've been posting we've been having some conversations about different wedding things over on TikTok, and some people in the comments, particularly on TikTok, they're like, no, I don't like that, you can't do that. And I'm like, but this is what I'm saying. Like, not everyone's going to like that method, but if it feels right for you and you like it, then that's okay. So there's always going to be this debate, and you'll probably upset your nan or your auntie, or one of your friends will be like, oh, didn't like how they did that. They don't need to. It's not their day. Okay, so that's fine. If you think this is the most comfortable method for you, to have your celebrant saying something, or for you guys to stand up at the beginning of your ceremony and just give everyone a little thank you for coming and let everyone know that there's no photos, then do that. You're not being rude. It's just however you want to do that. So yeah, I would be doubling up on that communication. Choose 1 or 2, 3 methods if you want to. Just keep like dotting it throughout your day. Fine. And I want to say this as well, because I think your tone matters. Yes, you want to be friendly. Yes, you want to be kind and be like, we're so grateful you're here, but please, please don't do this. Please, please don't do that. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of families out there, a lot of people out there, like, your family. If there is 1, 2, 3 people or your whole family that are just going to ignore that, and maybe being warm and kind and fuzzy and grateful isn't going to work, and you need to be firm, and you need to say, if there is anyone taking photos, you will be asked to leave. Maybe, it's that kind of thing. If it's a boundary for you and if it's something you want to put in place, there is nothing wrong with that, okay? I don't think, again, you're still not being rude here, you're just being firm. I think there is a difference, but you will get a lot of people being like, you can't boss people around and tell people not to take photos. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because they've been invited to your wedding that you've paid for. They're getting fed a nice 3-course meal or something nice and fancy, and they're getting drinks and all these other things. You are allowed to put a boundary in place about your own privacy and what you are comfortable with being shared. So if you know that your family are those kind of people, or your friends, and they're like, it's gonna wash over them, and you need to be like, this is the rule. If our coordinator or if someone at the venue sees you taking photos, you will be asked to leave. Maybe it's as simple as that, and you've kind of given your suppliers the heads up. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, personally. I'd respect that. If someone said, to be fair, if someone said to me, please don't take photos, I'd listen. But I know there are people that wouldn't. So do what feels right for you. Have a conversation and don't feel bad about it. I can just picture people being like, oh, I just feel really bad asking people not to take photos because they're just excited. Yeah, I know they're excited, but that doesn't mean that they get to decide how things go if you don't want your wedding to be shared online. Okay? So what we want to do, once we've kind of told people how this is going to go, is we're just going to hold those boundaries firm. And maybe it's saying, please don't post anything until we've shared the first photo. And maybe you want to take a couple of weeks to do that. Fine. And if you see anyone post anything, it's also okay to message them and say, please take that down. We did say we didn't want anything shared yet. Hold your boundary, hold firm. Speak to your suppliers as well. This is another thing I want to mention. Speak to your suppliers if you don't want anything shared, because a lot of the time, I see a lot of suppliers posting things on the day of their couple. And I'm like, did you check that they were okay with that? Have you just double checked that they were happy for you to post a picture of them physically, like close up ones as well, not even just them in the distance where you like can't see their faces, or you couldn't tell whose kind of wedding it was, like full on pictures of them on their wedding day, and like, oh, so and so's wedding today. And I'm like, have you checked with them that that's okay? I'm sure they have, but there's always this part of me that's like, oh, I really hope you checked with them. And also, from your perspective, please be checking with these suppliers that there's nothing in their contract that says that they are allowed to post something on the wedding day or post pictures of you or whatever before you've even had a chance to get your photos back properly or share them yourselves. Please check that there's nothing in their contracts that says that and that you're happy with that. If there is, then maybe have a conversation before you're signing that and say, actually, we don't want anything shared for the first month. We just want to kind of soak it all in and go on our honeymoon and do our thing. And then we want to share. Can we have something that says you're happy to go along with that too? Any good supplier will be like, yes, of course, but just double check. These are the things you want to be thinking about. if they're important to you. If this kind of thing doesn't bother you at all, again, this isn't the episode for you, but also, then that's fine. There will be other parts of the wedding day that are really important to you to hold firm with your boundaries on and be checking contracts to make sure that everything lines up there for you. It might just not have anything to do with the wedding privacy and social media and things. Okay, so that's fine. I also feel like a lot of people are good with this anyway, but when it comes to sharing pictures, or maybe your photographer or maybe your guests are just kind of sharing, and you're thinking, we don't want pictures of our kids online, but because it's our wedding day and we've had our kids there and everyone's taken pictures of us together and people have now posted pictures of us and the kids and we're not happy with that, it's okay to ask them to take those down. Older people, vulnerable people, whatever kind of guests you've got at your wedding day that you're like, we just don't want pictures of them put out in places, like that's not fair to them, they can't make that decision. Maybe there are sensitive dynamics of things that you're like, oh, we've got this tough family thing and I just don't want pictures shared because there's certain people that weren't invited and we just don't really want to showcase it and be like we're rubbing it in their faces. Maybe it's that kind of situation. Everyone's got something different going on, and this is just a case of working through it together as a couple, deciding what you're comfortable with, deciding how you're happy with things being shared and when and what those boundaries are, and having those conversations. And ultimately, I just want to remind you guys that it's your decision. You don't have to share anything if you don't want to. I'm sure you will want to share something. I think that's like the fairly common consensus among our generation and our society and everything at the moment. It's exciting to share, but it's okay if you don't want to. And also, even if you do want to share, don't feel pressure to do it instantly. If you want to be like, I just want to, like, I'm so excited, I don't want to share, and then regret having shared what you've shared and done it too quick, and then, whatever, it's okay to soak that in a little bit more. Wait for that kind of, all that excitement and like major high energy and emotions to come down just a little bit, and then reassess with a clearer head what you do want to share, what you're happy with, how do you feel about it now, and just to kind of take that process slow. It's okay. You don't need to feel that pressure. Finally, I just kind of want to end on the thought that, and the reminder that this is your wedding day. It's your choice. You get to decide how it goes, and it's okay to feel how you want to feel about it and put those boundaries in place, and that's okay. So, kind of a different episode for me. I hope I've kind of touched on everything that you might be wondering about this topic. I think I could have really dove into it a bit deeper with, social media and society and all of these expectations and pressures and things. But I think in general, I just wanted to kind of highlight that weddings are special and they're exciting, but they bring out a lot of emotions in people. And sometimes people don't think, and particularly for you, if it's your wedding day, the emotions are going to be running super high. Okay. So yes, sometimes you might be thinking this is unacceptable and I need to, cut this off right now, tell them to take the photos down because I wasn't ready. That's completely valid. But it's also completely valid if you say, oh gosh, do you know what? I'm just going to let that wash over me because my emotions are all over the place. I'm just going to let myself calm down and it's probably not that big of a deal. That's also fine. Either is okay. Your feelings are completely valid to feel how you feel in this journey. This is a journey that is a high pressure time. And I feel like you need to forgive yourself sometimes for feeling such big feelings about things because it's normal. It's overwhelming. It brings up a lot of feelings and anxieties in people and pressures. And this whole thing is just a lot, right? But enjoy it. Please enjoy it. And if you're feeling a certain way about certain things, communicate it. That's all I can say, essentially. Communicate it, be clear, be firm, be kind, and then handle anything that happens from there. The friend that posts anyway, that family member that just hasn't quite got the memo to not take pictures, handle that as you feel you need to in that moment from there. But I think you can't really go wrong if you are hitting those communication points, having your celebrant say something, putting it on your website, having a little sign on the day to remind people. If someone still chooses to ignore it after that, it says a lot more about them than it does about you. You've done everything you can. And like I say, handle that situation from there. How do you want to handle it? Do you want to have a word with them on the day? Do you want to just leave it and speak to them after to let them know, please don't post anything that you took? We saw you taking pictures. Please don't post anything, or please delete them, or please send them our way and then delete them, whatever. Have the conversations. I feel like this is such, in the grand scheme of things, it's not such a small thing, but I think there's a lot going on when you're planning a wedding. It's overwhelming. There's things to think about. You want it to go perfectly. And then in the moment, if someone's not listening to a request that you've made, you're like, oh God, like this is just the worst. Take a breath. You can handle it. and still have an amazing wedding process and still have an amazing wedding day. But there are different levels of how people are going to feel about this. So let me know if you've got any more questions. I would be interested to hear how you guys feel about sharing things online from, from after your wedding day. And yeah, what's your stance on that? What are you going to be sharing? What are you comfortable sharing? Do you and your partner have very different viewpoints on that, where you want to share loads and maybe they don't want to share much at all? How are you navigating that? Let me know. Send me a DM, send me an email. If you've got more questions about it or you think it would be worth us talking about it a bit more, then let me know. We can absolutely go into this again. But thank you for listening. I hope this is a helpful one. If you are new here and you don't know how this goes down, every single Wednesday I release a new episode. So every single week there is something new for you to listen to. If you're planning your wedding in real time, there is so much for you to dive into right now. This is episode 48. Like I said, you're almost going to have 52 episodes, one every week for a year of wedding planning episodes to listen to. So go and take a listen to some of the previous episodes. I have had a few guests on as well. I'm going to be having more guests on in 2026, next year. That is my goal. But I got a puppy this year. I've been doing a lot of things this year, and that's kind of halted having more guests on, I think. And I love having guests on. So if there's anything actually that you would like to hear from guests, if there's any particular guests you would like to have on, then let me know and I will try and make that happen for you. My puppy is getting older. He is calming down just a little bit, and I can kind of get a bit more done now while he's settled, rather than being like, there is no way I can sit down for 2 hours and talk to a guest. He's just not going to let it happen. We're getting there. Okay, so that is coming. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. If you need anything else, if you need help planning your wedding, if you need more wedding tips and advice, any of those things, there is a whole bunch of links for you in the show notes down below. And yeah, come find me there. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and excited to create your dream wedding day and those lasting memories. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I'll be back next Wednesday with more tips, advice, and inspiration. In the meantime, don't be a stranger. Come and find me on Instagram and TikTok at Your Wedding Unlimited, where I share even more wedding ideas and behind-the-scenes insights. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube at Your Wedding Unlimited. And if you're looking for even more support, come and join my private Facebook group, Your Wedding Unlimited. It's an amazing community of fun and authentic engaged couples, packed with extra tips, advice, and insights to guide you along your journey. If you have any questions or need more info, you can DM me or send me an email at yourweddingunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. All links and details will be in the show notes. Until next time, happy planning!